How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. DICE just released the patch notes for Season 3's release, which is going to be coming on May 12th, so just Tuesday of next week. So in these patch notes, they're releasing all of the details on all of the buffs and nerfs that are going to be coming to the game. A lot of changes for air combat. Attack helicopters are getting a couple buffs, but also a couple nerfs. Tank guided shells, they're getting nerfed. Laser Designator, it's getting nerfed. Some good stuff in here. So I want to go over this, cover with you guys. What are we going to expect in Season 3? And we'll move forward from there. Now, I also do want to put a little bit of a cliffhanger here for you guys. I will be streaming on Monday, May 11th at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time. And I will be streaming Season 3 on Gulmud Railway. So I was very fortunate to have received a playtest access code, so I will be playing the game and I will be allowed to stream it out to you guys at 9 a.m. on the 11th on Monday. So if you guys would like to catch an early glimpse of all of these changes in action, don't forget to check me out over on Twitch at WolfBrink, and I will be streaming from 9 to 12 on Monday on the 11th, and I will show you what all this new content looks like as a little bit of an early sneak peek courtesy of DICE and EA. So thank you to DICE, thank you to EA. I'm beyond thrilled and overly grateful at the opportunity to be able to stream for all of you guys, thanks to their kindness. So that being said, let's go ahead, let's hop into these patch notes. So before we get started, I just want to let everybody know that I am sick again. So if I do sound a little nasally, I apologize. I just want to get that out there, but let's go ahead and jump into these patch notes really quick. So Battlefield 6, the new update 1.3.1.0 is going to be releasing on May 12th, bringing new content and improvements, including ranked battle royale quads, railway to Gulmud map, new weapons, and a new battle pass. So at 9 UTC, players are going to be able to download the update as it goes live across all platforms and play with the latest changes. At 12 UTC, all content in the update goes live with railway to Gulmud, ranked battle royale, new weapons, and battle pass updates coming available. Alongside the new content, this update also delivers a wide range of vehicle, gadget, AI, netcode, gameplay, UI, and audio improvements to further polish the overall Battlefield 6 experience. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to skip through all the fluff, and we're just going to get through with the nitty gritty, and I'll do a quick overview throughout this whole entire blog note here. So this new content, they're just talking about a general idea of what this is going to be about. Battle Pass, new Battle Pass, 100 tiers, Battlefield Pro, some details about that, so tier skips, things like that are included. The new map, so Railway to Gulmud, this everybody knows this at this point in time if you've been following Battlefield 6 for any measurable amount of time. So the new map is coming to the game. All right, so the new weapons coming to the game. These are two amazing ones, and then one that I don't think is going to be really viable in the game, but we'll see how it performs. So the M16A4, so an iconic Battlefield assault rifle is going to join the fight in Season 3. Fully automatic and burst fire capabilities, plus a carry handle option for the iron sights. The M16A4 is built to perform in mid to short mid-range engagements. So this is one of my favorite guns in the previous Battlefield games. I'm really excited for its return. The L115, an iconic sniper rifle from a lot of different games. Deadly bolt action sniper designed to long range and very long range combat. Compatible with multiple attachments that rewards players who can stay calm and land the shot. So this is going to be for the long distance shooters in the game. The RPK 74M, we already have an RPK in the game. I believe this one's just going to have a smaller caliber bullet. So I think what this is going to be is longer range fights. It's going to have minimal recoil, steadier field with heavier alternatives, gives sword players stronger option like that Battlefield. So I think this is just going to be one of those guns where it's going to have a lot less recoil, so you're going to get more range out of it compared to the one that we have in the game currently. It's just going to do less damage per bullet. New Red Sec mode, so ranked battle royale is finally coming to Red Sec, about 2 seasons too late, unfortunately. So I don't think that this is going to bring a whole lot more to the game. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that it blows up. Don't get me wrong. I'm just being realistic. I think that the battle royale train has sailed, but they are still doing the updates for it. So it's actually really nice to see that they're finally bringing ranked into the gameplay. So basically the major updates for the season, new content, competitive and battle royale. Vehicles are receiving a major overhaul, which we're about to jump into. Gadgets are getting updated. Balance pass for weapons. Core gameplay, netcode, and combat improvements, and broader updates to all the general stuff like portal, AI, audio, etc. So moving down here into the changelog into the player section, I'm just going to skip through to the things that are actually really important that I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to want to actually see and hear about. So moving down to the change logs, so these are the player change logs. Not a whole lot of stuff in here. They're fixing some bullet impact marks on tanks, some revive animation fixes, some sequences with the revive when you're dragging a player. Sometimes it'll cancel the revive when on uneven terrain. They're fixing a couple of things like that. Soldiers spawning in with their lasers and flashlights visible before the player's visible. They're fixing that. Overall, just a couple of quick fixes that the game really needed. Moving down to netcode, of course, you can read all this if you want, but overall, they're just working on the netcode to try to make the game feel more responsive. Underneath the vehicle section here, there's a couple changes that I want to go over. One of the main ones that bothers me, they corrected an issue where vehicle wrecks could not be destructible as intended. So one of the things is when like your helicopter's blown up on the helipad, for example, when you're getting spawn killed, I like to blow up the wreck of the helicopter. That way I can properly try to get the helicopter again. But they had it to where the wreck was staying there, so they fixed it to where the wreck can be destroyed with a couple of grenades now, like it used to be before. Another really big one, I'm really excited for this. It's kind of like half of what I was hoping that they were going to include. So jets and helicopters will now have an indicator on their HUD clearly showing whether they do or don't have protection from below radar. So if you are flying below radar, you will now have an indicator somewhere on the screen that tells you that you are below radar, or if you are not. But it'll be nice to know when you are or when you are not below radar for when you're flying the jets and the helicopters. That's actually a really good change. Good quality of life update. So this is going to be a big change for all of you tank players. So basically what they're doing is they're making all the damage numbers a lot more consistent across all tanks. So damage to turrets are always going to deal 75% of the damage of the projectile. The body of the tank will always be 100% damage. But if you do hit a favorable angle from the side, it will do 150% damage, and it hits at a favorable angle from the back of the tank will deal 200% damage. Now, they are redoing the health regeneration on vehicles as well, so regeneration delay is increased from 6 seconds to 12 seconds now, so they're doubling that up. But the regeneration rate is increased from 5% to 10%, so they're doubling the amount of speed that it heals. So while it takes longer to kick in, it does heal twice as fast. Regeneration now continues to full health instead of only to the next bracket, and while in critical health, regeneration is now slowed by 80% instead of being fully disabled. This right here is going to be definitely a buff for the tanks. The problem with tanks on Battlefield, I used to actually like playing tanks in the previous games as much as I shit on them right now. The reason that I shit on the tanks now is because it feels like I'm driving a cinder block around. I just don't like the way that they feel. And so right now they're updating the systems, so it's going to be a smoother, more responsive acceleration on the tanks, tighter and more consistent turning at all speeds, and a smoother steering feel and more effective handbrake turns. So I am really excited to see if the movement actually feels a lot more fluid compared to what it feels like right now, because that could be make or break for a lot of people actually using the tanks in Battlefield 6. Tank type vehicles are no longer immobilized by high damage. Good change. Nothing worse than just getting shot by an RPG and you're just stuck there unable to move. I hated that mechanic. I think that mines still immobilizing tanks is a great idea, but not from other sources of damage. Now this one concerns me a little bit as a helicopter pilot, but at the same time, once we get into the further patch notes, there are things that counteract this. So turret speeds for the tanks have been modestly improved. One of the things that they did when it came to the guided shell and the tow missile is they nerfed the speed of the turret when in ADS to make it to where it was harder to hit the guided shells on helicopters because it was so easy to use. So they are rebuffing up the turret speeds for the main battle tank and the IFV. But there is a counter to this later on in the patch notes. Following that, aiming in first person and zoomed views in the tanks has been tuned to be faster and more responsive. Again, a buff for the tanks, a concern when it comes to the tows and the guided shells, but again, there's a change later on that does counteract this. Now, vehicle weapons. So general changes for vehicle weapons. Lock-on weapons are always going to do consistent damage now. So they're going to ignore damage zones and angles. So it's going to always be consistent on how much damage you're going to be doing with your lock-ons. The aim-guided missile now deals 207 to 550 to tanks, 1,000 to helicopters, and 1,000 to jets. So it's still going to one-shot kill helicopters and jets. And then air-to-ground missiles now deal 450 to tanks, 975 to helicopters, and 1,000 to jets. And then down here, let's talk about the aim guided changes. And this was what I was talking about earlier when it comes to the turret speed increases on the tank. So aim guided shell beam riding offset increased from 75 to 100 meters, reducing the rate of turning response. So the tow missile is going to be less responsive when fired. Aim guided shell engine time to live reduced from 1.25 to 1 second. I don't know what that means. Let me know in the comments. I don't know what that means. Maybe time between shots, so maybe you can shoot them faster now. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, let me know in the comments what engine time to live what that means. Aim guided shell now experiences drag after the engine cutoff. So putting these two together, it almost sounds like once you fire the aim guided shell out of the tank, it's going to get more drag after it's out of the chamber for 1 second or so, but I could be wrong on that. Aim guided shell time to live decreased from 6 to 4 seconds. Aim guided shell time to live decreased from 6 to 4 seconds. I'm not sure what time to live means. Is that the reload time? So just a faster reload time so you can get more shots off? I'm not sure what that means. Aim guided shell turning rate reduced. This is huge. From 12.5 to 6 degrees per second. So they're basically cutting it in half on the aim guided shell. So while they did increase the turret speed on the tanks, the aim guided shell turning rate is also getting reduced significantly. Now here's where it gets amazing. This is fantastic. This makes me so happy. Aim guided shells now deal X amount of damage to tanks, 700 damage to helicopters, and 1,000 to jets. So helicopters can actually survive a shot from the aim guided shell. Finally they can survive a shot from the dang thing. So this is more than what I was asking. I never asked for it to not be a one-shot kill. It's still a skill shot hit. I think that this might be a little too much, but I'm still happy to have this and experience this. But I think that just changing overall the speed of the aim guided with the tanks and the IFV's tow missile is really just all that needs to happen. It can still be a one-shot kill in my opinion, but that's kind of crazy that it's not a one-shot kill to the attack helicopter anymore. So moving down to the IFVs, reload times increased slightly. A bunch of damage ratios changed for it. One of the main ones that I wanted to talk about, AP shells, 100 damage against helicopters, capacity reduced, fire rate reduced, and then the canister shell. I was curious if they were going to do a buff for this. This isn't enough. The canister shell in this game is really, really bad. So they increased the capacity to 16 instead of 12, then the fire rate from 200 to 240. But I think that the overall canister round does need an update. It needs to be more effective against helicopters. And that's coming from a helicopter main. So I think that the canister rounds could use some slight tweaking. We'll see how this feels. But overall, I think that the canister rounds do need a little bit more love to make them more viable. Block guided missiles now deal 845 damage against helicopters. I'm pretty sure that is the MR missile. So I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that the lock guided was the MR. So instead of a one-shot kill, it does not one-shot now. This one confuses me. I don't know why light rockets is under the Bradley or the IFV. Maybe just right now reading this, I'm just missing something in my head because I did just wake up about an hour ago. Light rockets now deal X amount of damage to tanks, 550 to helicopters, and 700 against the jets. So for the gunner seat of the IFVs for the gunners, so the LMG, the minimum damage is going to be reduced from 21 to 19, and the muzzle velocity is going to be dropped from 850 to 670. So a pretty decent drop right there. Fall off short distance and long distance, that's going to be adjusted as well. And then a couple changes for the heavy machine guns as well. So now we're down to the helicopter weapons update. So this is going to be a really, really big one. This is going to be more so the nerf to the attack helicopter, but also a buff at the same time. So I think DICE finally listened to some of us, and they did hear our complaints, at least about the tow missile, but let's talk about this. Light rockets now deal 20 to 60 damage against tanks, 225 against helicopters, and 330 damage against jets. I don't know the previous ratios. I really wish when DICE and EA did these patch notes, they would add up from or down from. That way we can actually measure it properly without having to look up the information, because I am too lazy. But yeah, so that's going to be the new values. Attack helicopter light rocket area of effect is going to be reduced from 5 to 4.75 meters. So only a 0.25 meter reduction. That's not that bad. Aim guided rockets now deal 50 to 130 damage to tanks, 320 to helicopters, 460 to jets. Helicopter smart rockets area of effect reduced from 5 to 4.75. I don't understand this. Basically, nobody in the game is using the smart rockets in the helicopter. Everybody's either using heavy rockets or light rockets. Smart rockets are like the grenade launcher on the Little Bird. Not very many people use it. It's a novelty thing to use. Why are you nerfing it when barely, unless I'm wrong, is the data showing a ton of people using the smart rockets to warrant it needing a nerf? Or am I crazy? I feel like they should make the area of effect increased for the smart rockets compared to everything else to get people to use them. You know, give them a little bit more of an edge. I don't know, but I don't understand that change. This is a big one. Heavy rockets are now going to deal 90 to 250 damage to tanks, only 300 to helicopters, and 450 to jets. So it's going to take 4 heavy rockets to kill an enemy attack helicopter now. With the changes in damage like this, especially if the enemy helicopter pilot is going to be running repair, it's going to take probably 6 rockets just to kill the enemy helicopter. So with that being said, it's going to be a lot more important now for helicopter pilots to have gunners when it comes to fighting the other enemy helicopters. Otherwise, you just really got to hit all of your shots. They also nerfed the area of effect on the heavy rockets again. So heavy rocket area of effect reduced from 5.5 to 5.25 meters. So that's been reduced a little bit more as well. Now here's where the buff comes into play, and I am, as a tow missile guy, very excited about this. The tow missile's maximum speed has been increased from 90 to 120 meters per second. Ground vehicle tow missiles will remain at 90 meters per second. I have been saying this since the very beginning. Attack helicopter tows did not need to be nerfed alongside vehicle tow missiles and ground tows. Attack helicopter tows take a whole different type of skill compared to ground vehicle tows. You're on a moving platform, you're not on a stable platform, and you need that speed, because when they reduce that speed, when you are doing a pass on an enemy tank, you are not able to see your tow missile because it's like underneath and behind your helicopter. So now, hopefully with the speed increase again, the tow's actually going to be able to go out in front of you, and you're actually going to be able to track your tow and lead it to its target a lot easier. Fantastic change. This is exactly what I was asking for at the very beginning. I don't remember what the previous speed was. I don't know if it was 120 or 150, but regardless, I'm happy that they're separating the helicopter's tow from the ground vehicle's tows. That's what I was asking for this entire time. Super happy with that change. This one's interesting. I need to see what this plays out as. Again, this is one of those things I don't understand what it means. Let me know down in the comments. But removed projectile velocity inheritance from transport helicopter side gunner seats. This removes the need to lag shots when firing from a fast moving helicopter. So does that basically mean that the projectile velocity is significantly increased now, where the bullets are actually going to go where you're aiming now, and they're not going to lag behind like they are now? Because the way you have to aim with the transport helicopter now is you have to start shooting, and then you have to aim using your tracers. Your sight is completely irrelevant. You have to aim with your tracers. So I wonder if this is going to make the sight a little bit more relevant in terms of where you're aiming. So that'll be really cool if that's what I think it is. So for the jets attack bombs are being updated. I don't know what the previous damage values were, but 300 to 400 on the tanks now. Still a one-shot kill against enemy jets or helicopters. And the fighter jet small diameter bombs are now going to deal 410 to 500 damage against tanks, and then 1455 against helicopters, and 1000 against jets. Why do they have to make it do so much damage to helicopters? Oh, so if you hit a transport heli with it, that makes sense. And so the fighter jet bombs, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the fighter jet bombs only do like 250 damage right now to a tank. I might be off on, I might be completely wrong, but I feel like this is a massive buff for those fighter jet bombs. So if that's the case, the way that I'm thinking, that's going to be huge. Now for vehicle equipment, the reinforced plating passive has been removed and replaced with contingency systems. So no longer increases damage resistance of the vehicle, the weight, or the speed of the vehicle, but when at low health, accelerates the cooldown of countermeasure equipment instead. So that's a change for the tanks and vehicles. Now these thermal smoke updates are actually pretty goated for all of you tank players. So they actually made it to where the smoke will deal damage to nearby infantry who remain in the cloud, and it will also destroy C4. So if you are getting a guy rolling up on you, throwing C4 on your tank, you can pop thermal smoke to destroy the C4 if you do it before he detonates it, and it'll also apply some damage to the guy that's trying to kill you. Also, while inside of your smoke, all hits will be registered as minimum damage hits. So you'll only take 75% damage from all targets when you are inside of your thermal smoke. So this is actually a really nice change to thermal smoke for the tanks. Big buff for the tanks when it comes to the thermal smoke. The transport helicopter now has the improved armor passive equipped by default. I think that's another step in the right direction for the transport helicopter. Emergency repair now heals over time instead of healing instantly upon activation. So That's a big one. So earlier when I was talking about the heavy rocket nerf, so it only does 300 damage per rocket now, and I was saying how it's going to take 6 rockets to kill an enemy helicopter if they have emergency repair. Basically, instead of the repair healing all at once, now it heals over time. So if you are able to hit that 4th or 5th rocket when they hit repair, you are going to be able to still kill them a lot quicker because it's going to take time for it to fully heal up. Updated C4, so they're going to do 350 damage against tanks. Basically what that means is with main battle tanks having 1200 health now, it's going to take 4 C4 in order to kill a main battle tank now. They did change the AT4, so it's going to deal 207 to 550 to tanks, 1000 to helicopters, 1000 to jets. This needs to be worked on, EA, DICE. If you are watching this video, please, for the love of all that is holy, the AT4 is so broken right now. You need to make the speed reduction and controllability significantly less, or you need to make it not be a one-shot kill to attack helicopters. It's fine if it one-shot kills the little bird, but it should not be one-shot killing the attack helicopter. It is way too easy to hit for being a one-shot kill on the attack helicopter. The AT rocket really needs to be adjusted for that. So hopefully there'll be a change in the future. I was hoping that was going to be a change in season 3, seeing all of the videos that have been going out on how easy this thing is to use. So hopefully we'll see an adjustment to that in the future. Oh, the IGLA. Nothing about it shooting through flares, so that's fantastic. But I think that maybe these changes will help with it, because what they did is they did update the damage. So it's 650 damage against helicopters, 650 to jets. Lock-on time has been reduced from 1.2 to 1 second, so it locks on way faster than it used to. But the maximum missile speed has been reduced from 640 to 480. So that's a pretty decent change in missile speed. So I wonder if that's going to help with the issue that we've been having with the IGLA actually going through the flares. Maybe it was a velocity issue. So hopefully that's going to change and make it to where it's not doing that anymore. Missile acceleration has been increased from 65 to 100. So initial speed is going to be a lot faster though. So if it's really close to you, I think we're even more screwed. I don't know. This is conflicting. We'll see how that plays out. I just hope that it's not hitting through flares anymore, because that's a big issue that we've been running into. MBT Law, decent upgrade on the MBT Law. It's been updated, so 240 to tanks, 520 to helicopters, 800 to jets, but the initial speed's been increased from 30 to 100 meters per second. The maximum speed, 75 to 300 meters per second, and then the acceleration increased from 50 to 100. So this thing's gonna be a little rocket, man. That thing's gonna be flying. So I'll be curious to see what that feels like. Here's a big one. This one was music to my ears. I don't think it was a good enough of a change, but I am not going to complain when it's still a positive change. I'm not gonna complain too much. Effective duration has been reduced from 20 seconds to 9 seconds for both soldier and vehicle designators. So when I'm in a helicopter and a sniper laser designates me, it'll only last for 9 seconds now instead of the previous 20 seconds. I still think that you should have to maintain lock with the laser designator for it to work, and it should wear off after 3 to 5 seconds. I think that's how the laser designator should operate. 3 to 5 seconds of duration where it'll linger before it wears off. And then if you want to have a longer laser designator duration, you should have to use a tracer dart. That's the whole point of the tracer dart. So that is my personal input on the laser designator and what changes need to be made to it beyond what they just did, but this is 100% a step in the right direction. Laser designator no longer reduces lock-on time for AA missiles, another fantastic change, and it now provides a consistent 20% increase to lock-on range across all locking weapons. Also applies to vehicle mounted laser designators. So you get anybody that is looking at you can lock onto you 20% longer when you're designated more consistently. But I'm pretty sure it's always had that. It's just more consistent now. This is a really big one that I've been hearing a lot about lately. It's good to actually see it officially in the patch notes. So they added a new threat indicator for jets and helicopters that appears when a nearby enemy jet has your vehicle in its sights, helping pilots identify threats and take evasive action more quickly. So a situation where I think this is going to be really helpful is a lot of the times what stealth jets will do is they will lock onto you and they will hold their missiles until they're right next to your helicopter and then fire them last second to try to guarantee the kill. And sometimes if they're behind you, you don't know if you're being locked on by a stealth jet, depending on the situation, or if you're being locked on by an AA. And so by having that indicator to know that a jet is what's locked onto you, it's going to be another way for you to just stay alive and know, okay, he's just holding his rockets. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to pop my flares, drop down below radar, and get back to base, because you're going to know what that threat actually is. Now, following that, they also added a threat indicator that highlights incoming aim-guided missiles, improving a pilot's ability to spot and react to them. So anybody that's shooting aim-guided missiles at you, you're also going to get an indicator just like the previous one for those as well. They're going to have a below radar indicator on the minimap. Okay, so that's where it's going to be located at. It's actually going to be on the minimap itself. That lets you know when you are below radar or not. So that's going to be helpful. Now down here under the audio section, of course, DICE is going to continue to work on making it to where footsteps and everything are going to be a lot more recognizable. But one of them for all of us helicopter pilots and vehicle players, the lock-on and painted sounds now gradually decrease in volume over time, reducing audio fatigue during extended encounters. So that's really nice. But also, incoming lock-on for vehicles now plays distinct sounds depending on whether you're being locked on or painted by the enemy. So they're separating the two, and then also volume reducing over time. So those will both be nice, subtle changes for the audio side of things as well. All right, everybody. So that is going to conclude the Battlefield 6 game update 1.3.1.0. That's going to be going live on May 12th. So this coming Tuesday. That being said, just to reiterate one more time, on Monday the 11th, which is the day before release, I was invited to an exclusive opportunity where I do get to stream, and I'm very grateful and fortunate to be able to be partaking in this. So I'll have the link down in the description to my socials, but I will be live on Twitch at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and I will be streaming Gold Mud Railway Season 3 for all of you guys to take an early sneak peek at. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in doing, don't miss out, and feel free to follow me over there on Twitch or on YouTube or on TikTok. I will be live on all three platforms. Overall, I think this update was very well needed. A lot of the concerns that I have had for quite a while when it comes to vehicle gameplay, being a vehicle main myself, have been addressed in this. There are a couple of things that, like I said earlier in the video, that I hope they will be addressing in future updates, but one step at a time with Battlefield and DICE putting all of this together. At the end of the day, as long as this update plays the way that it sounds, I think this is overall a fantastic step in the right direction. And I'm excited for all of the new content that Season 3 is going to be dropping us over these next couple of months. So that being said, if you guys do enjoy the content, do not forget to leave me a like down below. Subscribe if you want to see future Battlefield 6 update content and helicopter gameplay videos as well. That being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.